Hello, I'm going to show you how to put ticks and crosses on a PDF. This is going to be especially helpful if you scan scripts and then you want to add electronically ticks and crosses and be able to put subtotals and even totals onto the electronic script. And it obviously will assist if you're sharing exemplars of marking and so on. Okay, so we're going to open up a script that's not been marked. And it opens up in a default Adobe Reader, which is freely available off the internet. It's a small file to download and it's very easy to install. It's quite intuitive and it shouldn't take much technical ability to make the installation of Adobe Reader. And even the latest version has this facility. So you will be presented with the page that you see now. And what we can do is we can just to widen the page a bit, we can click on this little arrow facing to the right where my pointer is, and it closes those options or it narrows down those options. What we're interested in for the ticks and crosses is a little fountain pen looking icon. And as you hover over it, it says sign document by typing or drawing a signature. So we're going to click on that and you'll see there's an extra bar that appears. There's a little menu that appears as well, but we can just click on the bar in a blank area of the bar and we get rid of that. But what we're interested in is the cross, the tick, and the little text box or the text inserting of text facility that we will have access to now. And of course, color selection where this red dot is. So we're interested in the red, in the color red, in terms of how the color of the ticks and crosses that we're going to make. So I'm going to scroll down. Before I click the mouse again, you'll notice as I move over the white of the PDF, it shows me an AB, which means by default, this text, addition of text, insert text is selected. I can select the cross, and you'll notice that goes blue, or I can select a tick, and you'll notice that one's now selected. So I scroll down, and I go down to an area where I would like to mark, and I simply place my cursor or my pointer wherever I want to place the tick, and I do a left click, and you notice there's a big red tick that comes in. If I wanted to change the color, I'd go to this red dot, I'd click on that, and I'd get some color options. I can change it to whatever color I'd like, and it changes accordingly, but I'll put it back to red. So just so we know how to click, I click on the blank area of that bar to get rid of the color options. Now, there's a small a and a large a. Basically, the small a is to reduce the size and the big A is to increase the size. And there's a little trash can there, that's to delete this object that I've just placed in. So I can either make it larger or I can make it smaller. Whatever size I select at this point in time, it will maintain that size throughout. Then I can go to the next option, I can put a tick. I can go to the next option, place a tick there as well. If I wanted to select a cross, I go and select the cross from the menu bar at the top, and I can put my crosses in. And that's as simple, and I use my mouse to scroll down through, and I can do all the marking I require. If I placed it in the wrong place, you will notice that as I move over that object that I've just put in, the pointer changes to a little hand. Once it changes to a little hand, I can click, and you'll find it highlights it, and I can click the trash can. Perhaps I've put in the wrong object, and I now select my tick, and I can go and place a tick there instead. So when that is done, when I've done a particular section or a question, I can add up all the marks, and in this case is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. When I'm done with that, I can now go and choose my text. I can click somewhere to the top of that particular question, put in my text, and I'll type in, for example, 7. If I want to make it a little fancy, I can go and select this little shape object. It's called add circle. But what I'll do is, I'll position it in such a way to the top left of the number. I'll click and hold, and I'll place it there. But the next thing I would do is to go to the bottom right corner of that object, and you'll find a diagonal bi-directional arrow appear. Click and hold and drag downwards. To increase the size of that box, drop your mouse and then go onto the object. You'll get a four-way arrow. Once you get your four-way arrow, click and hold, and move it over the number accordingly. So it now overlaps the number, but we see a nice neat number within a box, and that's now my subtotal. And that's basically how you would go about marking your paper electronically using Adobe Reader. Once you complete all your marking and you have all your subtotals, you can basically you can add text anywhere to the document. So what possibly could be done on the cover page, you could put a main total, oh sorry, we can just delete that, use the trash can and delete it. You could go back to your text, addition of text option, and you can add the text and you can put in the word total with a colon, and next to that whatever the total was, and you would now have a total on the cover page. And that's that. The last thing that needs to be done is to save the document. So you would go to the option file menu, and you'd go down to save as. It would be a good option to save the file as a different name so that you retain the original file where there are no ticks, crosses, or any additions to the file. This ideally should have been done right at the beginning, and you could have just saved it when you finished with your ticks and crosses. At this point, it wants to save to the desktop, but what you could do is just use the option choose a different folder, and then you will be presented with a dialog where you can search for the folder that you'd like to save into, and you can also type in the name that you'd like to save as. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to change it from script1 to script1 font, and I'll save it to whichever folder I'd like, whether it's on the desktop or whether it's in my documents. You can choose whichever folder you'd like. I'd like to save it to the desktop, and so I've just selected desktop there and no subfolder, and I've obviously changed the name, and I click on save, and we are done.